So in this video, we're going to document the installation of the driveway and the digging of the ditch for the water line. Took a few shots here before we got started. You can see my tape measure running up through, trying to figure out how long it's going to be. It turned out to be about 225 foot of driveway. We kept this tree. My wife really liked it. Maybe someday it'll be a treehouse for grandchildren. Who knows? A lot of these trees had to come out though, but that's okay. We did about a 25 foot wide driveway. In the end, you could drive a minivan through here. Here I'm about 75 feet down. This area where we're looking at, that used to be where the stumps and logs were piled up. We're working on them with the Coyote, but we only had 30 days. We were down there basically camping for 30 days, getting as much work as we could done. Can get a little look back here and see, you can see the shed. There's the tractor up there, and that's the shed we lived in for a month. Call it the bunkhouse because we're kind of silly. But you can see I have a clean out bucket on here. The bummer of the clean out bucket is it doesn't have any teeth. Now we had another bucket, but kind of hard to change these buckets out. So I used the teeth on the thumb to control the tree when it went down. You can't just push it over. If it slips past your bucket, come back and hit you, or if you push it too fast, the top will break off and come back and hit you. So a little bit of finesse. We managed to get it all done though without breaking anything. That's a win. Like I say, we did about 270 feet of ditch, about 3 foot deep on average. Some of it was 4.5 feet deep, where we knew we were going to have a conduit go across it in the future for a power line. So the water line goes down. This would be the western side of the driveway, and on the eastern side is going to be the power line. Once it's all graveled, that'll probably be sometime in the spring. Next time we go south, most people don't think of Washington as south, but we've been up in Alaska for a long time. So for us, this is a big move to the south. This Coyote backhoe, though, I can't tell you how happy I am with it. I'm used to running much bigger machinery, and a little 40 horses at first kind of like, oh my goodness. But the more I ran it, the more I realized it's a very powerful little backhoe. It dug the ditch just fine. It dug out some stumps just fine. You can see there, Ken's hitting hardpan. It actually dug down into the hardpan. Sometimes we had to go about a foot into the hardpan, and it did it, which is very impressive. One trick we learned that was kind of cool was where we had to cross a high tension power line and conduit. It was recommended to us to use a power washer. So we got a power washer, and we would cut the ditch out with the power washer, make sure there was no conduit there, and then we could dig out with the backhoe. Here we've crossed the road, and we're getting ready to come up on the water line. Fortunately, we can't film that because Ken's running the backhoe and I'm down in the ditch with the power washer. But you get to see how muddy I am from the power washer, and if you look back at the end of the next little clip, you'll see how skinny the ditch is, because where we crossed over the power lines, we really didn't need to have a wide ditch. We just needed to have something wide enough to fit our water line into. We run a 2-inch water line. So we finally found the pipe. I will give you a view of the pipe. This is our hole. As Ken will show you, our hole is full of mud. One pretty green water pipe, unbroken, 3-inch PVC. We did it. Look at our hole. Full of mud, full of water, but we did it. All right, bye. So we've come up on our 40 hour. Had to change the hydrostatic filter and the hydraulic filter. We ended up getting the wrong filter for the hydraulic filter. We got a T2195-38031, but what the ck4010 SE needs is a T2185-38031. We weren't able to get the right filter while we were down in Washington. Wasn't even able to figure it out, out in the woods, a little hard. It's about a 2.5 hour drive over to where the dealer is down there, and we simply didn't have a whole day to spend So when I got back to Alaska, I went to the Coyote dealer in Juneau, and they got the 2185-38031, which is the correct hydraulic filter for the backhoe. Now if you'll notice, I'm using the hoe here to kind of pick up the tractor. The outriggers don't quite get it up high enough, but the hoe easily does. Once you get it up there, the outrigger will hold it, but wouldn't get it high enough to get the tires underneath. We had a hydraulic line break right behind this tire, and we had to get it off, and that's when we discovered that the hoe had a lot more power to pick it up than the outrigger pad. Still impressed by the power of this little backhoe on this 40-horse tractor. It never disappoints. One issue I do have with the backhoe is the grease zerks. I don't know why, but every time I go to grease it, at least one or two zerks won't take grease. And then down right where the main pivot is next to the tractor for the hoe, one of the zerks broke off. So when I go back down to Washington, that's going to be my big job, is to probably change out all the zerks on the hoe over the course of time. They're hard to get the grease gun on them, hard to get the grease gun off, and then they broke off. The bucket, on the other hand, those zerks, grease gun goes on real easy, comes off real easy. They take grease every time. So I don't know if it was just a different manufacturer, different day, or what, but if that's the worst problem I run into, then that's kind of no big deal. I know this is boring, me just greasing the tractor, but you know what? This is part of keeping your machine running. Coming up, we're going to see the ditch, the final digging of the ditch. We're going to have two 1-inch lines in the ditch. We brought a 2-inch PVC up to a manifold and broke it up into 3. One 1-inch line's going to go to a guest house. One turns to the left here and goes to our pole barn. And then the one you see coiled up, it runs all the way to the house. We're going to do a run up and down the driveway to kind of pack it in. Final dump of the day. Change things up just a little bit and show you guys some video of Whidbey Island. It is a very beautiful island in Puget Sound, and it's going to be our future home when we move south. This is also the part where I tell you to hit the like button and subscribe. And as much as we like tractors, excavators, chainsaws, and dump trucks, we also have to take time to appreciate the beauty. Hope you guys are having a good time and a Merry Christmas from Stinging Nettle Farms. Catch you later.